Picture this. It's the summer of 1997. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, at a depth where sunlight hasn't penetrated in millennia, something happens. A sound begins. Not a whisper, not a rumble, but a blooming, undulating pulse that swells and rises like a voice from the abyss itself. It lasts barely a minute, but in that minute, it travels. 3,000 miles, 5,000 kilometers. Hydrophones scattered across an ocean basin, devices meant to listen for the whisper of Soviet submarines in the darkness, all hear it simultaneously. Every single one. The sound is so powerful, so utterly alien, that when scientists first play it back, they speed it up 16 times just to bring it into the range of human hearing. And what emerges is unsettling. A low, mournful bloop, ascending in pitch, organic in character, as if something massive and alive had spoken. The technicians look at each other. They check their instruments. Everything is working perfectly. The data is clean. Whatever made this sound, it's real. And nobody knows what it is. For 15 years, the bloop would remain one of the ocean's most tantalizing mysteries. A sound that seemed to belong to a creature larger than anything we'd ever discovered, lurking in depths we could barely imagine. This is the story of that sound, the Cold War technology that heard it, and the startling truth that finally explained it. To understand how we heard the bloop, we must first understand the invisible architecture of the ocean itself, and the secret network built to listen within it. In the 1940s, during the waning days of World War II, two oceanographers named Maurice Ewing and J. Lamar Wurzel made a discovery that would change naval warfare forever. They found that the ocean possesses a hidden layer, a natural phenomenon occurring at a depth of roughly 1,000 meters in most parts of the world. At this precise depth, temperature, pressure, and salinity conspire to create something remarkable. The slowest speed of sound in the entire water column. This layer became known as the SOFAR channel, sound fixing and ranging, and it functions like an acoustic superhighway. Sound waves entering this channel become trapped, bent by refraction, bouncing between the warmer waters above and the denser waters below, never quite escaping. Low-frequency sounds, the deep, rumbling frequencies below 500 Hz, can travel for thousands of miles through this channel with almost no loss of energy. In theory, a sound generated in the SOFAR channel near Australia could be heard near Bermuda. In one remarkable experiment, a sound traveled 16,000 kilometers, nearly the distance from New York to the opposite side of the world. Whales discovered this channel first. Blue whales, the largest animals ever to exist on Earth, evolved to exploit this acoustic highway. Their songs, deep, mournful calls that reach 188 decibels, ride the SOFAR channel across entire ocean basins. Before humanity filled the seas with the noise of engines and industry, it's theorized that a whale singing off the coast of Antarctica could have been heard by another near the Arctic. The ocean, vast and lonely as it is, was once filled with voices traveling impossible distances. But in 1950, at the height of the Cold War, the United States Navy realized that if whales could use this channel, so could submarines. And if submarines could use it, the Navy could listen to it. Thus began Project Jezebel, later codenamed SOSUS, the Sound Surveillance System. In extraordinary secrecy, beginning in January 1952, the Navy laid arrays of hydrophones on the ocean floor, positioned precisely at the axis of the SOFAR channel. Each array consisted of 40 hydrophone elements strung along 1,000-foot cables, planted at depths of 1,400 feet, listening. The signals traveled via undersea cables to shore stations called NAVFACs, naval facilities, where teams of sailors would analyze the sounds on machines called gram writers, scrolling paper displays that burned chemical traces showing frequency over time. They called it walking the beams, moving between rows of machines, hunting for the acoustic signature of Soviet submarines entering the Atlantic through the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap. For 40 years, SOSUS remained one of the most closely guarded secrets of the Cold War. Even after it was declassified in 1991, its full capabilities were barely understood by the public. But by the 1990s, with the Soviet Union dissolved, the Navy began allowing scientists to access this remarkable listening network. In October 1990, NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory was granted permission to use sanitized SOSUS data. The scientists weren't interested in submarines. They wanted to listen to the ocean itself, to volcanic eruptions along mid-ocean ridges, to earthquakes rippling through the sea floor, to the language of whales crossing vast distances. And in the summer of 1997, they heard something else entirely. The hydrophones of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean Autonomous Hydrophone Array were designed to be patient listeners. Positioned more than 3,000 kilometers apart, they formed a vast net of ears scattered across the Pacific, each one suspended in the SOFAR channel, recording continuously. Their primary mission was to detect underwater volcanic activity, the deep groans of the Earth's crust as magma shifted and erupted along spreading centers where tectonic plates pulled apart. But on that day in 1997, the hydrophones detected something that matched no known volcanic signature, no recorded earthquake, no familiar sound in their databases. The sound originated from a remote point in the South Pacific Ocean, roughly 50 degrees south latitude and 100 degrees west longitude, a desolate stretch of water about 1,500 miles west of the southern coast of Chile. No ships were reported in the area. No seismic activity had been logged. The region was empty, cold, and deep. The acoustic signature was extraordinary. It was an ultra-low frequency sound, far below the range of human hearing, rumbling somewhere between 15 and 20 hertz. When the scientists sped up the recording 16 times to bring it into audible range, it revealed its character. A rapid rise in frequency, starting low and blooping upward over the course of approximately 1 minute, like a voice ascending from bass to tenor. The pattern was smooth, almost melodic, with a quality that seemed unmistakably organic. But what struck the researchers most profoundly was the sheer power of the sound. The amplitude, the loudness was staggering. This wasn't the localized pop of a pistol shrimp or the click of a dolphin. This was a sound that had propagated across an entire ocean basin, detected clearly by sensors 5,000 kilometers apart. To generate that kind of acoustic energy, the source had to be immense. Dr. Christopher Fox, a scientist at NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory, was among the first to analyze the bloop.
The data is conclusive.
In interviews, he acknowledged the uncanny resemblance to biological vocalizations, the frequency sweep, the amplitude envelope, even the duration all suggested something alive. The profile looked like a marine animal's call, enlarged to monstrous proportions. But the numbers didn't make sense. Even the blue whale, the largest animal ever to exist and capable of producing calls at 188 decibels, couldn't generate a sound this powerful. Sperm whales, which produce clicks reaching 230 decibels, still couldn't match it. If the bloop were biological, it would require an animal far larger and louder than anything science had ever documented. Speculation ran wild. Perhaps a colossal squid, larger than any specimen ever captured, had vocalized in the deep. Perhaps an unknown species of whale, a relic population hiding in the unexplored trenches. Perhaps, and this was where the imagination took flight, something even more fantastic, something from the realm of cryptozoology and legend. It didn't help that the bloop's approximate origin point was located in the same general region of the Pacific where H.P. Lovecraft had placed R'lyeh, the sunken city of Cthulhu. The internet, newly vibrant in the late 1990s, seized on the coincidence. Forums buzzed with theories. The bloop became legend, a sound from the abyss, a voice from the unknown, a mystery that seemed to confirm that 95% of the ocean remaining unexplored meant that almost anything could be down there. But Dr. Fox, even in those early days, had a different hypothesis. In a 2001 interview, he suggested that the most likely source was something far more mundane, yet no less powerful. Ice carving in Antarctica. The sound, he noted, could be consistent with an icequake, the fracturing of massive ice sheets, the explosive crack of an iceberg breaking free from a glacier. Still, without direct evidence, the bloop remained officially unexplained. Scientists continued to deploy hydrophones, this time moving them closer to Antarctica, determined to solve the mystery. Between 2005 and 2010, NOAA researchers conducted intensive acoustic surveys in the icy waters around Antarctica, specifically in the Bransfield Strait and Drake Passage, the violent stretch of ocean where the Atlantic and Pacific meet at the southern tip of the world. The hydrophones, suspended in the SOFAR channel, recorded continuously, capturing every groan, crack, and whisper of the Southern Ocean. And what they heard was a symphony of ice. Imagine an iceberg, not the modest, picturesque chunks you see in photographs, but a true Antarctic giant. Tabular icebergs carved from the Ross Ice Shelf can stretch for 170 miles, nearly the size of Connecticut, containing trillions of tons of compressed ice that has taken thousands of years to form. These icebergs are not passive. They crack, they grind, they fracture. As they drift through the Southern Ocean, propelled by currents and winds, they collide with one another and scrape across the sea floor in shallow areas, generating sounds of almost incomprehensible power. When one of these ice giants calves, when a colossal piece of glacier finally surrenders to gravity and crashes into the sea, the event releases energy equivalent to a moderate earthquake. The ice fractures with a thunderous report, and the sound propagates not just through the air, but into the water, where it enters the SOFAR channel and begins its journey across the ocean. The acoustic signature is distinctive, a low-frequency rumble, rising in pitch as the ice breaks and splinters, lasting anywhere from seconds to half an hour, depending on the size of the event. In 2005, researchers tracked the disintegration of iceberg A53A, a 37-mile-long shard of the Antarctic ice sheet. As the iceberg drifted through open water, it ran aground, spun, scraped along the seafloor, and then broke apart. The hydrophones captured every moment of its death. The sound was initially so loud that researchers thought they were listening to a volcanic eruption. The energy released during the 20-minute breakup was equivalent to the noise produced by approximately 214 supertankers operating simultaneously. When the scientists compared the acoustic profile of A-53A's disintegration to the original Bloop recording, the match was undeniable. The frequency sweep, the amplitude, the duration, all consistent. The distinctive bloop shape, the rising pitch that had seemed so biological, was simply the acoustic fingerprint of ice fracturing under immense stress. The sound waves Doppler shifting as cracks propagated through the structure. But it wasn't just A-53A. The hydrophones detected tens of thousands of similar sounds every year emanating from Antarctica. Most were smaller, localized events. Crevasses opening, smaller icebergs carving, sea ice cracking under pressure. But occasionally, a truly massive event would occur, and the sound would bloom outward, traveling thousands of kilometers through the SOFAR channel, just as the Bloop had done. The Deep Sound Channel, discovered by Ewing and Worzel to locate downed pilots, exploited by the Navy to hunt submarines, and used by whales to sing across oceans, had carried the voice of Antarctica itself. The sound of a continent of ice, slowly, inexorably, breaking apart. By 2012, NOAA officially reclassified the Bloop. It was no longer an unidentified sound. It was a cryoseism, an ice quake, a non-tectonic seismic event generated by the fracturing and movement of glacial ice. The mystery, in the strictest sense, was solved. And yet, the story of the Bloop is more than just a case of mistaken identity. It's a testament to the ocean's capacity to astonish us, to how little we truly know about the planet's largest and least explored realm. That we could detect a sound across 5,000 kilometers of ocean and have no idea what caused it speaks to both the power of our technology and the depths of our ignorance. The Bloop also serves as an unexpected herald of climate change. Icequakes, once rare enough to be remarkable, are now common. As global temperatures rise, the Antarctic ice sheet is calving more frequently and more violently. Glaciers that have stood for millennia are retreating. Ice shelves are collapsing. The ocean grows louder every year, with the sound of ice breaking. And that sound is a symptom of a warming world. There's a certain poetry to the fact that the SOSUS array, built in secrecy to detect the silent movements of enemy submarines, ended up revealing the voice of a melting planet instead. The hydrophones, once instruments of war, have become witnesses to environmental change, chronicling the accelerating loss of ice that future generations will inherit. The scientists who first heard the Bloop were right to be amazed. They were right to wonder if something unknown might be responsible. The ocean does hold mysteries, species yet undiscovered, behaviors yet unobserved, depths yet unreached. But the Bloop was not one of those mysteries. It was something more prosaic, and perhaps more profound. The sound of ice surrendering to time, amplified by the ocean itself into a voice that traveled halfway around the world. Today, if you visit NOAA's website, you can listen to the Bloop yourself, sped up so that your human ears can perceive it. You can hear the low, mournful rise, that strange, almost plaintive quality that made so many people believe they were hearing a living thing. And in a way, perhaps they were. Not a creature, but a planet, speaking in its own language about the changes happening within it. There's something humbling about the ocean's ability to hide its truths in plain sound, For decades, we listened to a noise we couldn't explain, and in our not knowing, we imagined wonders, creatures of legend, beings beyond science. The bloop became a modern myth, a reminder that the ocean is deep enough and strange enough to hold almost anything. But the truth, when it finally emerged, was no less extraordinary. We heard the sound of Antarctica breaking. We heard ice, ancient and immense, fracturing under the weight of a changing climate. We heard a continent speaking, its voice carried on invisible currents, a message traveling thousands of miles to reach ears that were built to listen for something else entirely. In the end, the bloop teaches us that mysteries don't always resolve into fairy tales. Sometimes they resolve into reality. And reality, if we listen carefully enough, is its own kind of wonder. The ocean still holds its secrets. There are still sounds we cannot explain, depths we haven't reached, creatures we've never seen. But the bloop is no longer among them. It is simply the sound of ice falling into the sea, echoing through the deep sound channel, a voice from the lonely south, heard around the world. And perhaps, in its way, that's exactly as it should be.